Okay, I guess we are going. How's everybody doing? I figured I'd do a little bit of unboxing here. We got a few things in the mails. I really don't give a crap if you can see my address. You're stupid enough to come try shit. Good luck. I figured I'd open up the few packages I got. Got a couple things in the other day for my What in Tarnation build, and some of the stuff's for that. Probably most of this stuff here is for that. Big old Protect sticker. Nice. But it's not all for that. Why I got the Protect sticker. Set of Protect shot pliers. Those should come in handy dealing with all the shots I've been dealing with by hand. Make life a little easier. Let's take a peek. See what else we got in a little baggie. The RPM toe pieces. I can get Matt his toes, but I haven't found the other pieces. How strong are these? Hopefully be strong. Oh yeah. Oh, those are real strong. So Serpent springs. These are slipper clutch springs, but I'm not going to be using them for slipper clutch use. You guys will catch what I'm doing with those in a video coming up later. And because I'm still waiting for the VTS Revolution Designs VTS slipper setup, I figured I'd better order a stock slipper pads and slipper clutch ends valve system, so I can at least get some test hits in and do some testing on the rigs until I can get. I'll have to take and swap it between the couple, but until I can get my VTS clutches, I figured I'd get that. So there's a few things in there, so I have to get a hold of Matt. So I got his 0 degree toe ends. I've got a set of zeros around here somewhere. I can find them, but I haven't found them yet. And it's easier to buy the set and give him his. Needed these. These are going to be handy. I need to put that somewhere where it can get flattened. Up under here. Flatten that out. Shot pliers can go up with those. These two pieces I'll slide over here with the springs. I'll open up bag number 2. This one is coming from eBay. I know what this is. And what this is, as you can see, is an SSD. Good looking at. Let's see if we can get it focused a little bit. I don't think it's backwards. It's looking backwards on my screen. I'll have to watch the video. I think it's right. It's the high ratio transmission. Let's see if I can get it in. There we go. That's taking a little bit more of its focus. These things kind of a pain. It loves to focus on the background instead of what's right in front of it. Damn thing. It's a high ratio transmission. This transmission is 1 to 83. 1 to 1.83. So for every revolution that goes in, it's 1.3 out. So it's a very low revolution. It says high ratio tranny. And this is going to be for my What in Tarnation build. And it's a basically an axial wraith tranny with axial wraith gears. You got a locked diff, idler gear in here, your screws, your motor plate, and your tranny. And then the other day, these came in on Saturday, it should have been Friday. Vanquish top shaft. You need top shaft for it. Top shaft gear, Robinson Racing. And should have something in that one for this. And then the last thing I'll be waiting for is my bearings, which they'll be here tomorrow. I picked up a set of Fast Eddie ceramics for the transmission setup. So, like I say, this is for my What in Tarnation build. So we can actually kind of slide these things together because it won't be able to be built till I got the bearings here tomorrow. But this is all heavy duty gears. So in a 1 to 1.83 spec with my What in Tarnation build, which bring that up a little bit, kind of take a look. I'm going to redo the burst, probably put up some shock towers, but keep them kind of low. But yeah, it's set up like that for now. 4-link suspension on the rear. SSD rear axle. I'll be going to the metal axle tubes and doing some customization. High overdrive gears in the rear end pumpkin, so you get more rotation out of the same amount of revolution. I can't remember, it's like 3.35 to 1 on the rear end, and then 1.83 so to 1. So totally I'll end up with like 3.85 or 3.35, so it end up being like 1.24, 1.25 to 1 ratio. So every spin, the motor will have to spin 5 times to get 1 full revolution of the tire, basically. And as you can see here is what's left of a Traxxas Bandit. The front capsule part and front arms and bulkhead, which is running flat. And I've still got to do some mocking up and some work up here. I want to try to get it set down a little bit lower, do a little tweaking to it. I'll make it fit a little bit better and then get it locked in a little bit better. But basically, once that's done and locked in, I've got a metal shock tower coming. That should be here, I was hoping today or tomorrow. We'll see. But once I get the metal shock tower, I'll lock that in to the bulkhead, lock the bulkhead to the front chassis part that I got out of the Bandit. Those will be bolted together. That'll get all bolted in, front chassis parts bolted in now to the thing. The shock tower is holding part of it on the chassis. I'll get it set up properly so it's all square. It's all pretty much square now, but like I say, I want to try to get this to drop a little lower and maybe back just a smidge. Or actually, I'm sorry, forward just a little bit more. So I'll have to do a little bit more trimming and cutting, get that to come forward, and then get these pieces all locked together and try to get them kind of even here. This is what I'm going for. So I may, do a little work up here and see what I can do, but get that set and kind of flat. So when that's flat, the front, is down. So I want to, it's got to get down a little bit farther, and then the arms got to get done. But actually, that's not too bad. But I do want, as you can see, it's got just a little, not quite. So if I can get these, flat like this, so this belly plate is flat, and then get my bulkhead flat, so my arms will have to actually go down, and the metal shock tower I have is opened up in this area coming. I think it's a atomic, if I'm not mistaken. So I should be able to get it to slide down a little farther before I figure out where I got to drill holes and get those two mounted together there. I think that'll work out great. So that'll give me my front end, servo mount, steering, nice flat or almost flat front arms at a 0 degree, or maybe a small kick up 1-2 degrees. and then a live drive axle. And that's an XXD or SSD long axle shaft for a TRX4 or an axle Wraith as well. Wanted to make sure I had enough length, and because this is a TRX4 chassis and TX4, belly pan with a traditional 10 scale, rear end. I wanted to make sure I had an axle shaft that was long enough. So the one that was for the Wraith, which I'm using the Wraith tranny, and the Traxxas TRX4 setup seemed to be a perfect fit. So I went ahead and went that way. So that's the second bag of goodies. And like I say, there's one more I think I got here. Thought I had one more. I'll have to take a peek here and see if I can find it. Give me a second. Let me move these couple ladies out of the way. Oh, yep, there it is. Almost didn't see it. It was almost too small to see. This one comes FedEx. Of course, I'm guessing nothing too small to see about this box. And this is gonna also be for my What in Tarnation build, but until that's done, I may actually get it done and run it just for shiz and grins on one of my other no preps, because my What in Tarnation build is going to be basically, street eliminator. And we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I got 1.3 or 1.83 to 1 rotation on the tranny, and then the rear end, which is 3.3335, something like that, to 1 on the rear end. So I should, 5 1/4, 5 1/3 to 1 ratio should be pretty darn good coming out of that, as long as it can handle. And it made to handle crawler, which is heavy torque stuff. So the torque out of high speed motors should be fine. It's just a matter of can it handle that speed. And I got ceramic bearings and everything. So this is the idler gear, simple little idler gear, Vanquish idler gear for the Wraith high ratio tranny. And then the last thing, reason for the big box is got to carry up the big body. And what this one is the 56 Ford from Proline. See if we can get it up in there. Yeah, the F100 Ford. There we go. It's coming in really nice now. I can't really focus on anything else. The Ford body. And I've got a theme I want to do with this. So I've got a specific, paint job and everything in mind with this body to go into no prep drag. And when it's done, I think it's going to look really kick-ass, especially if it turns out the way I'm hoping it should. And it's going to be one that I think most people, older people, will absolutely get. Some of the younger kids might not quite catch it. They might not get the inference of this particular body, especially in the drag racing scene. But it should be fun. And I probably will run it without a wing, just like it is. Get her set up, add a few accessories so it looks theme orientated. But yeah, it should be fun. So that's all the parts I got in today. Like I say, I got a shock tower coming for the What in Tarnation build. And I guess I can kind of play a little how are we going to play together concept and just do a little look. Oh, yeah, that lines up pretty well. Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty good. The nice thing is I can play a little bit with the wheelbase here, just a little bit with link ends. I can put a couple longer link ends or even a shorter link end to kind of shorten it up or lengthen the axle at the rear end to see how far out I need it. So I got to get a couple shock tower setups. I've got some SSDs, but the holes don't line up, so I'll pick up a couple Traxxas type TRX4 rear shock tower mounts. And just get probably the stock plastics. I want to kind of keep it light with all the other metal that I'm going to have on it. rear end axle is going to be all metal and stuff. So I might just go with plastic, but I might get a piece of, anodized aluminum rear towers. But I want to kind of keep it low, which that should be good. Once it's up, the shock tower should still be low as it can be there, with that in there. But even at that, dang, that may not be too bad, because these axles are like 8 inches wide, 8.5, almost 9 inches wide, not quite a 9-inch width. That should fill up fine. I could actually, in the front, I'm going to easily be able to use slash width arms to widen the front out, which I probably will end up doing. I got a pair of Jado arms to be a little bit wider yet. I may try the Jado arms and see how far out they come out. The only thing I think I may end up buying a metal bulkhead. As you can tell, if you look at this one, I'm running it flat, so it's not really reversed. I thought about trying to reverse it, but I figured I'll wait till the metal one gets here and take a better look at what to do with that. Try to get that front end locked in tight so nothing's moving and shifting. But yeah, with any luck, a couple days I'll have a few more parts than this. I'm still waiting on one body, but like I say, I may go ahead and get this body themed up and done, even though it's going to be on this rig, and run it on one of my other ones. I may actually turn around and run this on the 13.5 rig, just because it'd be a little bit slower and less chance of me crashing and wrecking it before I get it on one tarnation and get it done and put together. So with this, all these pieces, and then the bearing set coming from Fast Eddie's, which like I said was in Lansing today. I think I seen when I looked, so it should be here tomorrow. I'll have the tranny built. I could put the motor in it. ESC, I got one here, a Sidewinder 4 to 5700. I could throw it together. I got a servo I could toss in there, an ES receiver. So I could basically in a couple of days have this thing, ready to run, except for painting the body and getting it all mounted and tweaks and shock tower. I mean, I go through a lot of things, but I literally could put it together and drive it down like this. And I thought about doing that, but I don't think that's just not going to offer nowhere near enough, suspension on the rock. You need to be stiff for that. So I'm going to have to obviously do something. I had a couple SSDs and they just won't mount here properly. They may mount here. I may see if I can mount them up here and take a look. Because I could put those up there and then mount here, or use the other ones and get them a little bit straighter, get the shocks almost straight up and down. And I don't have any oil in them now, right? They're kind of just chintzy. Then get them adjusted out. And of course I got adjusters so you can adjust these out with these are SSD Trail King kit shocks. So they're really nice shocks. I think to buy them they're 60, 80 bucks a pair or a set of all four. Blues or black. The blue is what I had in the set. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get those filled out. But once I got this front end locked down, got that tranny built, throw a motor in it, it could, I got wheels for it. I still, like I said, I still do have to get a few other things. I'm waiting a few things to come in to steal a couple parts. Like on the 13.5, I'm going to be putting titanium axles on it, so I'll take the stock axles out. They'll come up in here. I've got longer front A-arms if I need to widen this out, which it looks like with that body I'm going to a little bit. Be able to widen that out, get it even a little bit more stable with the wider arms. So that could work out up front, help stabilize a little bit. I've got the set of actual Traxxas Funny Car rear wheels and front wheels. So that's what I'm going to be trying to set up to run on here. And those Funny Car wheels are a deep dish, so they've got a big offset. So my question is the offset going to be too much with its axle like it is? And I think it will be. But like I said, I've got modifications in store to do to the axles. I've got a set of aluminum axles that I'm going to make modifications to and mock that up. And when I got that done, I'm going to narrow it. And when it's narrowed, I'll gain an inch on each side basically. So I'll be able to weld, if I wanted to go by the high end $250 weld rear end Traxxas funny car wheels. They mount right into this and still stay underneath any body I put into it, because I'll have a shortened rear end, which would be, instead of what is it? Let me take a look here. Okay, 7 inches wide, maybe a little bit more than 7.25. So if I've got it down to 5, that's shortened rear end. That's going to be kind of cool in scale, absolutely scale with a stubby rear end. Everybody drag racing got to narrow your rear end to get the tires up underneath the body, so that'll be a very scale position to work with this. So that's some of the things I'm looking at doing with this thing. It's getting pretty close, so I figured I'd start kind of showing what I'm doing and what's going on, and I've still got some tweaks to do, but yeah, this thing's going to be kind of a cool little build when it's all done. I get the body on this F100 all done up and on here. Be kind of nice. I was going to do it as a leaf spring, but I did want to make it competitive as long as the drivetrain was going to be well. I wasn't sure about drive ratio and where I was going to end up at. The stock Traxxas unit, I think, is set up to be 2.52 to 1 on the stock Traxxas tranny with a locker. With your diffs, it's something a little bit different, 3.52 maybe to 1. I'll have to kind of double check the numbers, but this won't be that far off from that. I think, depending on the rig, some of these guys, I think you're looking at 7 or 8 to 1 final drive ratio by the time you're done with the spur and the pinion. That's, of course, what I got to throw in here. So it's about 5.25 to 1 right now. With the spur and pinion, I'd be around, 7 or 8 to 1, depending on my spur and pinion choice. If I'm running a 2060 or a 2080, it'll be 8 to 1. If I'm running a 2060, I'll be close to 6.5 to 1. If I'm running a 3064 or a 35, 60 or a 3060, just 2 to 1 ratio there. So that'll really crank it up. So I think this could be a really, if none else, a cool looking rig. But I think it actually be fairly competitive on the strip as long as I can get it set right and make it drive straight, which is the goal. I like kind of mopping and customizing and 57, 58, 59 Cadillac automobile, if you will. Like Johnny Cash said, it's a 56, 57, 58 Cadillac automobile. So yeah, this is some of the parts I got in today. So I say thanks for hanging out, checking out my stuff with me. I don't get anything. These things aren't given to me. They're not set to me to check out and spec out for everybody. I buy this stuff and do it and have my fun. But anyways, thanks for joining. You guys have a good day, and we will talk at you later.